Welcome to Styla's Salla Sew Along. Salla is a color blocked hoodie with features of a unique thumb hole cuff, hidden front pocket, a contoured hood, and flattering seam lines. Salla has a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance unless otherwise stated. Locate the center front bodice main, center front bodice lining, and the pocket lining pieces. Make sure the pocket marks are transferred to the fabric. Turn the pocket lining wrong side up. Iron a 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter strip of interfacing along both pocket openings. Place the center front bodice main right side up. Place the pocket lining right sides together with the center front bodice main. Align the bottom edges and the pocket markings. Pin or clip into place. Sew between the two pocket marks using a stretch stitch or serger. It is important to be precise and use an exactly 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Clip 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter slits in the fabric at each of the 4 pocket markings. Do not cut the slit longer than 3/8 of an inch. Repeat for the opposite pocket opening. Turn the pocket lining right side out. Steam or press the pocket openings. If desired, top stitch the pocket openings. It is recommended to use a walking foot and long straight stitch for this step so the pocket opening does not stretch while sewing. A zigzag or lightning bolt stitch is not recommended. Place the center front bodice main right side down. Locate the center front bodice lining and place it right side down on the center front bodice main. The right side of the bodice lining will touch the right side of the pocket lining. Pin the pocket lining to the bodice lining at the top edge of the pocket lining. Do not pin through the bodice main. Turn the pieces over so the right side of the bodice lining is face up. Fold the bodice main out of the way. Sew to attach the top edge of the pocket lining to the bodice lining. Use a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance and a stretch stitch or cover stitch. Make sure to not sew through the bodice main. Once sewn, the pieces should look as follows. None of the stitching should be visible on the bodice main. Place the center front bodice piece right side up. Align the edges of the bodice lining with the edges of the bodice main. Pin or clip into place. Use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to baste the edges. Do not baste over the pocket opening. Locate one of the front side panels. Place the front side panel right sides together with the center front bodice piece. Align the top of the side panel with the top of the center front bodice piece. Align the bottom of the side panel with the bottom of the center front bodice. Ease the rest into place and pin or clip to secure. Move the pocket opening out of the way and baste together the side panel and the pocket backing using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance, only basted through the 2 layers of fabric. The finished pocket opening should not be caught in this basting stitch. Baste 1 inch above and below the opening. Pull the side panel away to make sure the finished pocket edge didn't get caught in the basted seam. Pin the finished pocket edge out of the way. Fold the side panel back onto the center piece, right sides together. Using a stretch stitch or serger and a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance, sew the side panel to the center front piece. At the pocket opening, make sure to go slow and use exactly a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. The seam over the pocket may be easier to sew with a sewing machine. Repeat the above steps with the remaining front side panel. Your front piece should look like this. Check to make sure the pocket openings are functional and are not caught in the seam. Use a bar tack stitch to reinforce the pocket openings. A bar tack stitch is a narrow zigzag stitch with a short stitch length. Press the seam allowance toward the side panel and use a cover stitch or stretch stitch to top stitch the seam, if desired. A reverse cover stitch is shown. Locate the top front bodice piece. Place the top front bodice piece right sides together with the front piece. Align the edges at the arm size. Ease the rest of the piece into place. Pin or clip. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Press the seam toward the top of the bodice and top stitch if desired. Locate the back center bodice piece and the back side pieces. Place a back side piece right sides together with the back center bodice piece. Align the bottom and the top of the side panel with the bottom and the top of the back center bodice. Ease the rest into place and pin or clip to secure. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Repeat with the opposite back side piece. Press the seams toward the side of the bodice. Top stitch if desired. Locate the 2 top back pieces. Place the top back pieces right sides together with the back bodice. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Press the seam allowances toward the top of the bodice. Top stitch if desired. Place the finished front and back bodice pieces right sides together. Sew to attach both sides and shoulders with the stretch stitch or serger. Locate a sleeve center piece and the 2 corresponding sleeve front and sleeve back pieces. Place the sleeve front and back pieces right sides together with the sleeve center piece. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Press the seam allowances away from the sleeve center. Top stitch if desired. Fold the sleeve in half and align the long raw edges. Sew the long edge with a stretch stitch or serger. Repeat these steps with the remaining sleeve. Turn the sleeve right side out and the bodice wrong side out. Slide the sleeve in the bodice, right sides together. Align the underarm seam with the side seam of the bodice. Align the sleeve seams with the front and the back bodice seams. Baste the sleeve into place with a scant 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance to check the seam alignment and adjust if necessary. Sew to attach the sleeve with a stretch stitch or serger. Repeat with the other sleeve. Locate all of the thumb hole pieces. Fold the top thumb piece in half, right sides together, aligning the curved edges. Sew the curved edge with a stretch stitch and a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. A sewing machine is recommended for this step to help reduce bulk. It's important to make sure the seam stretches well or it might feel tight on the thumb. Trim the seam allowance and turn right side out and press. Fold the bottom thumb piece in half, wrong sides together. Align the short, raw edges and press. Fold the sleeve cuff front in half, right sides together. Align the short, raw edges. Press to create a memory crease. Overlap the curved edge of the top thumb piece with the folded edge of the bottom thumb piece. Match the length of the folded sleeve cuff front piece. Baste the overlap together with a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Unfold the sleeve cuff front. Place the basted thumb pieces on the sleeve cuff. Align the bottom flat edge of the curved piece with the memory crease on the front cuff piece. Fold the sleeve cuff front over to sandwich the thumb pieces. Sew the side edges with a stretch stitch or serger. Turn the cuff right side out. The right side will have the thumb piece underneath the bottom thumb piece. Repeat these steps for the remaining cuff. Turn the sleeves wrong side out. Slide the cuff into the sleeve, right sides together, aligning the raw edges. Align the color blocked seams. Make sure the thumb hole opening is aligned with the underarm seam. Baste the color-blocked seams into place with a scant 3/8 inch or 1 cm seam allowance to make sure the seams are aligned. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger and a 3/8 inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Slightly stretch the cuff while attaching. Repeat with the remaining sleeve cuff. Locate all of the hood pieces. Make sure the front and back of the hood centerpiece is marked and the grommet location is marked. Place the hood center right sides together with the hood side. Align the notches and the front and back edges. Pin or clip to secure. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Repeat with the remaining hood side piece. Press the seams toward the sides of the hood, away from the centerpiece, and top stitch if desired. Iron a 1 inch by 1 inch or 2.5 cm by 2.5 cm piece of interfacing to the wrong side of the grommet marking. Install the grommets per the instructions provided with the grommet. Optionally, a buttonhole opening may be used for the drawstring opening. Fold the front edge of the hood 1 1/8 inch or 2.8 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Pin or clip into place and top stitch with a stretch stitch or cover stitch to hem the front edge. Overlap the front edges of the hood by 1 inch. Baste into place using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Turn the bodice wrong side out. With the hood right side out, place the hood into the neck opening. Make sure the front of the hood is facing the front of the bodice. Align the center front of the hood with the center front notch of the bodice. Align the back color block seams, pin or clip into place. Sew to attach with a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Locate the drawstring. Fold the drawstring in half lengthwise, right sides together. Pin or clip to secure. Sew the long edge with a stretch stitch or serger and a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Use a turning tool to turn the drawstring right side out. Use a bodkin or safety pin to thread the drawstring through the hood grommets. Trim the drawstring if desired, and knot the ends or add cord ends. Locate the hem band pieces. Place the hem band outer right sides together with the hem band center. Align the short edges. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Repeat with the opposite hem band outer. Place the remaining hem band center right sides together with the two hem band outer pieces, aligning the short edges to create a hem band loop. Sew to attach with a stretch stitch or serger. Press the seam allowance toward the hem band side piece. If desired, top stitch the hem band seams. Fold the hem band in half, wrong sides together. Align the long, raw edges and press. Turn the hoodie wrong side out. Slide the hem band into the hoodie, right sides together. Align the raw edges. Align the center notches and the color block seams. Pin or clip into place. Baste the color block seams into place using a scant 3/8 inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Sew to attach the hem band with a stretch stitch or serger. Turn right side out and press the seam towards the bodice. Top stitch if desired. You are now finished. Thank you for joining us for the Styla Salla Sew Along.